I freeze in the doorway of Salvatore's, my breath catching in my chest. 14 faces turn toward me, illuminated by the restaurant's warm lighting. Empty plates litter the white tablecloths. Wine glasses half empty. Dessert crumbs scattered across small plates. The celebration clearly winding down. My mother, wearing her favorite crimson blouse, spots me and waves casually. "Oh, Marin, you finally made it." The restaurant hums with ambient chatter around us, but at our table, a sudden silence falls. I check my watch. 7:05 p.m. My pulse quickens as confusion gives way to understanding. "I thought dinner was at 6:30, I say, still standing awkwardly at the edge of their table, clutching my purse. My legs feel wooden, refusing to carry me the rest of the way. Dad dabs his mouth with a cloth napkin. "We moved it up to 5. Didn't Mom tell you?" Mother shrugs. "The diamond anniversary bracelet Dad must have given her tonight catching the light. I mentioned it might change. Besides, we didn't really expect you to make it, honey. You're always so busy." The words hit like ice water. I'd confirmed the time twice today. Once this morning before work, and again at lunch, when Mother called to remind me not to be late. "You never mentioned changing the time," I say quietly, aware of other diners glancing our way. A server approaches with a sympathetic smile but retreats when he reads the tension. Just this morning, I'd rearranged my entire schedule to make it here on time for my parents' 32nd anniversary dinner. Then the Peterson account exploded at 4:15, a shipment misdirected to Tulsa instead of Tampa. As logistics manager, the crisis landed squarely on my shoulders. Still, I'd managed to resolve it and race across town through rush hour traffic. Like always, being responsible, showing up, the story of my life. Bryn, my younger sister, smirks from her seat beside Mother, her third glass of wine, judging by the flush in her cheeks. "Want my picked-over salad and breadsticks? There might be a cold meatball left, too." The table titters. Uncle Ron snorts into his espresso. "Now, Bryn," Mother chides without conviction. Her attention shifts back to me as she reaches into her purse. "But since you're here, your timing is actually perfect." She pulls out a folded paper, the creases crisp and deliberate, extends it toward me like a peace offering. I take it automatically. A receipt. I unfold it slowly, the paper trembling between my fingers. $1,720.43. "We figured you'd be happy to cover it," Mother says with that familiar smile, the one that isn't really asking. "Since you missed the dinner itself." The restaurant suddenly feels too warm, too small. 3 years of paying their mortgage when Dad lost his job, covering Bryn's rent when she found herself after college, the down payment on Dad's new car last spring, the family vacations I fund but somehow never quite make it onto. My hands stop trembling. I look up and meet 14 pairs of expectant eyes. Family tradition. Marin pays, Marin provides, Marin never complains. Deliberately, I tear the receipt in half. Then, quarters, then, eighths. The pieces flutter onto the table like confetti. Bryn laughs nervously. "Looks like our VIP sponsor's having a moment." The table erupts in awkward laughter. Cousin Paige whispers something to Aunt Louise. Dad's face darkens with anger. "Marin," he starts, his voice carrying that warning tone I've heard since childhood. But something has shifted inside me, something fundamental and irreversible. I've spent years trying to buy their love, their approval, their inclusion. And here I stand excluded anyway, useful only for my wallet. I turn without a word and walk out of Salvatore's. My steps quicken as I push through the heavy doors. Behind me, the laughter dies into stunned silence. For the first time in my adult life, I don't look back. 20 minutes later, I slam my apartment door hard enough that the framed logistics certification on the wall rattles. My hands still tremble with adrenaline as I drop my purse on the entry table, kick off my sensible heels, and slump against the wall. The restaurant scene plays on repeat in my mind, 14 faces staring expectantly at me, waiting for me to fulfill my usual role. Marin the provider, Marin the checkbook. The thought propels me toward my home office. I need evidence. I need to see the pattern laid bare. In the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet sits a manila folder labeled Family Assistance. The crisp organization inside receipts neatly filed by date, bank statements highlighted in yellow. Canceled checks in chronological order reflects the logistics manager in me. As I spread the documents across my desk, the full scope of my financial entanglement with my family unfolds before me. 3 years of mortgage payments when Dad lost his job at the architectural firm. Bryn's rent for that overpriced downtown apartment while she found herself post-college. Dad's new Buick last spring. Mom's dental work. Christmas gifts for everyone. Birthday presents. Emergency home repairs. I grab a legal pad and start tallying. The numbers climb steadily, each addition making my stomach clench tighter. When I reach the final sum, I physically recoil from the page. $47,382.17. Nearly $50,000 in 3 years. The realization hits me with physical force. I rush to the bathroom and barely make it before my lunch resurfaces. Kneeling on the cold tile floor, I wipe my mouth with the back of my hand and try to steady my breathing. This wasn't just about dinner. This wasn't a one-time slight. This was calculated. Systematic, intentional. Back at my desk, I sort through more statements. A peculiar charge from last February catches my eye: a vacation package to Scottsdale, 4 airline tickets, 4 nights at a resort, golf fees, spa treatments. I have no memory of this trip because I wasn't invited. I paid for a family vacation I wasn't even told about. The betrayal is so profound it makes me lightheaded. I sink into my chair, the room spinning slightly. All these years, I thought I was helping, supporting, being the responsible daughter, the good sister, the family rock. But they never saw me as family at all, just an ATM with legs. My fingers move mechanically through digital statements now. I pull up my retirement account. The balance sits at $18,452, pathetically low for someone my age, because I've been diverting funds to family emergencies. My savings account shows a similar story. The personal vacation to Quebec I'd been planning for 3 years? Cancelled last summer when Bryn needed money for car repairs. "Your sister really needs this, Marin," Mom had said. "You can always go next year." Next year never seems to arrive for me. The stark financial reality lays out the consequences in black and white. If I continue this pattern, I'll work until I'm 80. No home of my own. No retirement security. No life beyond funding theirs. My phone buzzes on the desk, a text from Mom. "You embarrassed us tonight. Call me when you're ready to apologize." Something crystallizes inside me. A hardening. A shift so fundamental I can almost hear it click into place. I power up my laptop and log into my online banking. First, I cancel all automatic transfers to my parents' accounts. Next, I remove Bryn as an authorized user on my backup credit card. Then I create a new spreadsheet titled Financial Independence Plan and outline aggressive savings goals for the next 6 months. My phone buzzes again. "Dad, this time. Your mother is very upset. This is no way to treat family." Family. The word now feels hollow, stripped of meaning. Without hesitation, I block his number. Then Mom's. Then Bryn's. One by one, I block every family member who sat at that table tonight, watching me be humiliated, waiting for me to pay their bill. The apartment falls into complete silence. No more buzzing, no more demands. The quiet wraps around me, not comforting exactly, but definitive. Final. As I sit alone in my suddenly quiet apartment that night, I wonder if cutting off my family completely is the right approach. Would maintaining some boundaries while keeping minimal contact be wiser than total separation? Or was a clean break the only way to truly heal? The question hangs in the air unanswered, but for the first time in years, the decision is mine alone to make. 2 weeks later, Ava Middleton's number flashes on my phone screen for the 3rd time this week. We haven't spoken since high school graduation 15 years ago, but suddenly she's determined to reconnect. I let it ring through to voicemail and continue organizing the stack of bills on my kitchen table. "Marin, it's Ava again." Her voice fills my apartment as the message plays automatically. "Your mom asked me to check on you. Everyone's worried about your situation. Call me back, okay?" My situation. Right. I delete the message and add Ava to my blocked list, the 12th name this month. 2 weeks after walking out of Salvatore's, the family storytelling machine is working overtime. According to my cousin's wife's Facebook post, "I'm having a nervous breakdown from work stress. Uncle Ron told his golf buddies I'm struggling with female problems. Mom's bridge club heard I'm going through a phase." Never once mentioning the $47,000 I've given them over 3 years. The doorbell rings. I freeze, holding my breath. Through the peephole, I spot Mrs. Henshaw from 4B, not another family ambush. I exhale slowly and open the door. Mail mix-up again, she says, handing me an envelope. This one's yours. I thank her and retreat back inside, turning the envelope over in my hands. The Chase Bank logo stares back at me. Another one. I've stopped opening these immediately. The racing heart, the sweaty palms, the tightness in my chest that follows isn't worth it. Last week's letter informed me my credit score had dropped 85 points. The week before, a notification about a credit limit decrease on my MasterCard. I've started dreading the mail, jumping when my phone rings, avoiding my email. I slide the envelope into a growing pile on my counter and turn back to my laptop. The spreadsheet I've been building glows on the screen, a meticulous record of every dollar I've given my family. Column A, date. Column B, amount. Column C, supposed purpose. Column D, actual use, when I could verify it. Column E, whether I was thanked. Column E is mostly empty. The largest single entry stares back at me. $8,700 for Dad's emergency dental work that somehow coincided with the delivery of his new golf clubs. Below it, 22 separate entries for Bryn's rent, until she gets back on her feet. She's been getting back on her feet for 3 years now. My phone buzzes with a calendar reminder. Family Labor Day picnic, 2 weeks. The annual gathering where attendance is mandatory, and bringing an expensive dish is expected. Last year I contributed a honey-baked ham, 3 side dishes, and 2 desserts. Bryn brought paper plates and took home all the leftovers. I delete the reminder with a sharp tap. A knock at my door makes me jump again. This time I don't check the peephole a mistake. I swing it open, ready to snap at Mrs. Henshaw. Instead, Theo Ramsey stands there, holding a paper bag from Antonio's and a book tucked under his arm. Bad time? He asks, taking in my expression. Theo and I met in college. He's now a corporate attorney with a corner office downtown, but still drives the same beat-up Volvo and wears faded concert t-shirts on weekends. We've maintained our friendship through career changes and his divorce 3 years ago. Sorry. I step back. Thought you were someone else. Your sister? He knows the situation, the only person I've told the full story to. Could have been any of them at this point. I motion him inside. What's all this? He sets the bag on my counter, careful to avoid the pile of unopened mail. That legal thriller you mentioned wanting to read. He places the book beside the bag. And takeout from Antonio's cried. Sometimes silence is better with company. For the first time in weeks, I feel the corners of my mouth lift into something resembling a smile. We eat pasta at my kitchen table, carefully avoiding the topic of my family while Theo tells me about his latest case. He doesn't ask why half my mail is unopened, or why my phone keeps buzzing with calls I refuse to answer. The quiet acceptance in his presence loosens something tight in my chest. Later, as we're finishing the tiramisu, I actually laugh at his story about a witness who showed up to court in pajama pants. The sound surprises me, rusty and unfamiliar. 3 months pass this way. I decline 4 family invitations, block 17 more phone numbers, and fill my spreadsheet with 3 more years of financial data I've meticulously reconstructed. Then, on a Tuesday morning in October, my phone rings with an unfamiliar number. I almost send it to voicemail, but the area code matches Chase Bank's customer service line. Miss Beckett? A woman's voice asks when I answer. This is Diane Reynolds from Chase Bank's fraud department. Do you have a moment to discuss some potentially unauthorized activity on your account? My stomach drops. What account? The Chase Sapphire Reserve card opened in your name 6 months ago. We're seeing some concerning patterns with the most recent charges and wanted to verify. I don't have a Chase Sapphire card, I interrupt, my voice surprisingly steady. A pause. According to our records, a card was opened in your name with your social security number on the 20th last month. The current balance is $18,900. The room seems to tilt slightly, but instead of panic, a strange calm settles over me. That's identity theft, I say quietly. I never authorized that card. As Diane details the investigation process, I open my laptop and search my email. Nothing from Chase about a new card. I ask where statements have been sent. The paperless billing is directed to an email address bj.beckett94@gmail.com. Bryn Jean Beckett, born in 1994. And the mailing address? She reads my parents' address. When the call ends, I sit motionless at my kitchen table. The realization crystallizes. This was never about money. It was about respect, about autonomy, about whether I had the right to say no. I call Theo immediately. I need your help, I tell him when he answers. No preamble, no apology for calling during work hours. What's happened? His voice shifts instantly from casual to professional. I explain the situation in clear, concise sentences, my voice growing stronger with each detail. When I finish, he doesn't question whether I might be overreacting or suggest I talk to my family first, unlike what my family would have done. I'll be there in 30 minutes with the paperwork, he says. This is identity theft, Marin. It's a federal crime. For the next week, Theo and I compile evidence. The credit card application linked to Bryn's email, shipping addresses for purchases sent to my parents' house. The suspicious timing the card opened 2 days after I walked out of Salvatore's Primes. The Chase Fraud Department flags patterns that match known family fraud cases. Same billing address as the victim's relatives, gradual spending increases, luxury purchases mixed with everyday items to avoid triggering alerts. By Friday, we have everything we need: a comprehensive file documenting each fraudulent charge, copies of the credit application, and a draft police report ready to file. I close my laptop and look at Theo. I'm ready. For the first time in months, I get in my car and enter my parents' address into the GPS. As I drive across town, my hands steady on the wheel, I realize I'm no longer afraid of what comes next. They wanted access to my money without limits. Instead, they're about to learn about consequences. 30 minutes later, my knuckles turn white around the steering wheel as I pull into my parents' driveway. The familiar red brick colonial looks smaller somehow. Weeks of distance has changed my perspective on more than just the house. Beside me, Theo arranges the paperwork in a leather portfolio. Remember, stay calm and stick to facts. They'll try to make this emotional. I nod, swallowing hard against the tightness in my throat. The manila folder on my lap contains printouts from Chase's fraud department, account statements, transaction records, and the smoking gun, a credit application with my forged signature. My heart pounds against my ribs, but my hands have stopped shaking. The front door opens before we reach the porch. Mother stands in the doorway, arms crossed over her floral blouse. Her forced smile falters when she notices Theo. Marin, honey, we weren't expecting visitors. Her eyes dart between us. Who's your friend? This is Theo Ramsey. He's an attorney. I keep my voice level. We need to talk, all of us. Dad appears behind her, wiping his hands on a dish towel. About what, exactly? Identity theft and credit card fraud. Their expressions shift in tandem: surprise, confusion, then practiced innocence. Dad ushers us into the living room where Bryn sprawls on the sofa, scrolling through her phone. She glances up, rolling her eyes when she sees me. The prodigal daughter returns, she mutters. I sit across from them, placing the folder on the coffee table. Theo remains standing, his presence a silent fortress at my back. Last month, someone opened a credit card in my name. I slide the account statements toward them. The card was sent to this address and linked to Bryn's email. It currently has an unpaid balance of $18,900. Mother laughs nervously. There must be some mistake. No mistake. I open the folder wider, revealing the transaction history. Opened 2 days after the dinner incident. She flushes red, eyes darting to our parents. Dad leans forward to examine the documents, his confident smile fading as he flips through the pages. You never used to worry about money, he says finally. What happened to family helping family? This isn't help. It's theft. Mother reaches for my hand. I pull back before she can touch me. Sweetie, we thought you wouldn't mind, she whispers. After that scene at Salvatore's, we figured you needed time to cool off, and we did need a few things. $18,000 worth of things? My voice rises despite my best efforts. Dad's face hardens. You have a good job. You can handle it. Maybe this will teach you not to walk out on family. The admission hangs in the air between us. I reach slowly into my pocket, stop the recording app on my phone, and place it on the table. Dad's eyes widen as understanding dawns. You just admitted to knowingly committing fraud. Theo speaks for the first time, his tone professionally detached. That's a federal crime with potential prison time. Bryn launches to her feet. You can't be serious. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other, I say quietly. Silence stretches between us, taut as a wire. When my father essentially admitted to identity theft, I had to decide whether to give them one last chance to make things right or proceed immediately with legal action. Family ties run deep, but so does this betrayal. What would be your next move in this moment? The question hangs in my mind as I watch their faces. Mother's pleading eyes, Dad's clenched jaw, Bryn's panicked expression. 3 people who share my blood but treat me like an ATM. Here's what happens next, I tell them, my voice steady. Theo has prepared a formal demand letter. He removes a document from his portfolio and places it beside the credit statements. This letter requires full repayment of the fraudulent charges within 45 days, he explains. It outlines the potential criminal charges for identity theft and the civil lawsuit for damages we're prepared to file if payment isn't received. Mother gasps, "You would sue your own parents? You would steal from your own daughter?" I counter. Dad snatches the letter, scanning it with growing alarm. "This is ridiculous. We can't come up with this kind of money in 45 days. You came up with ways to spend it in less time than that." The facade crumbles completely then. Mother begins to cry, mascara tracking down her cheeks. Dad's face flushes dark red. "We're your family," he growls. "You don't threaten family." "And you don't rob family," I reply, standing. 45 days. Over the next week, the messages pour in. Voicemails from Mother, alternating between tearful pleas and cutting accusations. Text messages from Bryn claiming I'm destroying their lives. Dad sends a single email with the subject line, "You'll regret this." Uncle Ron calls to tell me I'm breaking my mother's heart. Cousin Paige suggests I need therapy for my obvious issues with family loyalty, each message more desperate than the last. A week later, Mother's latest text glows on my phone screen. "You're ruining this family over a little money. Is that really what you want your legacy to be?" I show it to Theo over coffee at my kitchen table. 38 days remain until the deadline. "They're panicking," he says. "That's good. It means they know you're serious." I stare out the window at the spring rain pattering against the glass. "Do you think they'll actually pay?" He considers this, stirring his coffee thoughtfully. "They will if they believe the alternative is worse." I nod, feeling strangely hollow. The anger that carried me through that confrontation has ebbed, leaving behind a cold clarity. This isn't about money anymore. It never was. "What if they don't?" I ask. "Then we follow through," Theo says simply. "And you finally stop being the family credit union." The rain beats harder against the window, washing everything clean. A month later, while I am still waiting for my family to return money, Mother appears in the doorway of my office like an apparition. Her crimson blouse, the same one from that anniversary dinner 3 months ago, stands out against the beige walls of Marshall Logistics. My coworkers glance up with curious expressions as she makes her way toward my desk, her eyes already glistening with strategic tears. "Marin?" She whispers loud enough for nearby colleagues to hear. "We need to talk, honey." I continue typing my email, fingers steady on the keyboard. "I'm working, Mother." She clutches her purse against her chest, the diamond anniversary bracelet catching the fluorescent light. "It's about family loyalty," she says, voice trembling. "Your grandparents would be rolling in their graves if they knew what you're doing to us." The familiar guilt tactic slides off me like rain on waxed canvas. I save my document, lock my computer screen, and stand. "Let's talk outside." In the parking lot, away from prying eyes, Mother shifts tactics. Her tears vanish, replaced by cold calculation. "I've already told Aunt Louise about your breakdown," she announces. "By next week, everyone in the family will know you're destroying us financially. Is that what you want? To be the villain at every gathering for the rest of your life?" I unlock my car, retrieve a manila folder, and hand it to her. "Open it." Inside lies the draft police report, Theo prepared, complete with transaction records, account numbers, and sworn statements from the fraud department at Chase. Every detail of the credit card they opened in my name documented in black and white. I'm not the one who committed a federal crime. I say, my voice steady as a surgeon's hand. "You have 72 hours left before this becomes official." The clock started ticking the moment you walked into my workplace. Mother's face drains of color. "You wouldn't dare." "I already did." I take the folder back. 3 days, Mother. That's all you have left." She opens her mouth, closes it, then hurries to her car without another word. For the next 3 days, I check my accounts hourly. Dad calls 17 times. I send each one to voicemail. Bryn texts accusations about loyalty and family responsibility. I read them without responding. On day 43 of our 45-day deadline, the notification appears on my phone while I'm eating lunch at my desk. A Venmo transfer from Richard Beckett, $18,900. The message field contains 4 words. This should end it. Not an apology, not an acknowledgement, a dismissal. My phone immediately lights up with texts from Bryn. Thanks a lot. Dad had to cash out his retirement account early. You happy now? I can't even qualify for a car loan because of your little temper tantrum. Hope you enjoy your blood money. I set down my sandwich and open my laptop. With calm, deliberate keystrokes, I log into my Chase account and pay off the fraudulent card in full. Then I call the customer service line and request the account be permanently closed. I'd also like documentation that this was reported as fraud. I tell the representative, and confirmation that it won't appear on my credit report. When that's complete, I draft a single email addressed to Mother, Dad, and Bryn. I have paid the fraudulent debt in full and closed the account. I have also prepared legal documentation of your actions, which has been placed in secure storage with my attorney. This documentation will remain private unless you attempt to contact me again or open any accounts in my name. Our business is concluded. I sign it simply, Marin. Then I block their email addresses, one by one. 2 weeks pass in blessed silence. Through mutual friends, I hear rumors that Bryn has taken 2 part-time jobs at the mall. Dad has started fishing again, something he claimed he couldn't afford when asking for money last summer. Mother tells relatives I'm having emotional problems and have abandoned the family during a difficult time. Let them talk. The truth sits in my bank account, in my credit report, in the stack of documents Theo helped me prepare. The elegant cream envelope arrives in Tuesday's mail. I recognize Cousin Paige's handwriting immediately, the sloping letters formed in careful calligraphy. Inside, gold-embossed lettering announces her wedding next month at Lakeside Gardens. The entire family will be there. I hold the invitation to the light, feeling its weight, its expectation. The RSVP card waits for my decision. The old Marin would have marked attending without hesitation, would have bought an expensive gift, would have stood awkwardly in the corner while everyone whispered about her. I set the invitation on my kitchen counter and pour a glass of wine. The choice before me feels monumental yet surprisingly easy. For the first time in my life, I understand that some invitations are better left unanswered. The RSVP card sits untouched as evening falls, bathed in golden light from my kitchen window, a relic from a life I no longer recognize as mine. My apartment feels different now. Sunlight streams through windows no longer hidden behind heavy burgundy drapes, but framed with light linen curtains that billow gently in the spring breeze. 6 months have passed since I walked out of Salvatore's ass, and the world hasn't ended. Quite the opposite. I check my bank statement, a ritual that once filled me with dread. The numbers align now, predictable and comforting. My savings account shows a healthy balance enough for a down payment on a small home if I wanted. The Montreal trip brochure sits on my coffee table, no longer a fantasy but a scheduled reality for next month. First-time homebuyers often overlook property tax implications. I tell Zoe, a young accountant I've been mentoring. We sit in a coffee shop downtown, her notebook filled with questions about financial boundaries. Learning to say no saved my retirement fund. It might save your sanity too. She nods, scribbling frantically. But what if they make you feel guilty? That feeling belongs to them, not you, I answer, surprised by how easily the words come now. Later that evening, at Harold and Jean's dinner party, someone brings up my parents. Weren't their anniversaries always at Salvatore's? Are you invited at the celebration this year? The table goes quiet. These friends know something changed, but not the details. 6 months ago, this question would have sent me spiraling, searching for an acceptable lie. We have different views on family obligations. I say simply, buttering a dinner roll. The seared scallops are excellent tonight, Jean. No trembling hands, no racing heart, just a fact, stated without shame or guilt. Conversations swirl around me, and I participate fully, present in a way I never could be when constantly calculating what my family might need next. The following Saturday, Theo arrives carrying a bottle of sparkling cider. Lisa and Devon, friends who stood by me through everything, bring homemade pasta and chocolate cake. My small dining table feels just right for the 4 of us. To chosen family, Theo raises his glass, his eyes meeting mine briefly. And healthy boundaries, Lisa adds with a knowing smile. We clink glasses and eat until our sides ache, from laughing at Devon's workplace stories. Nobody asks for money. Nobody makes me feel small. The evening ends without a single moment of anxiety. That evening, I pull up the application for the Senior Operations Director position at work. The job description feels like it was written for me. I complete the form methodically, attaching my updated resume. After submitting it, I browse listings for starter homes in neighborhoods I've always admired. My phone chimes with an email notification from my mother. The subject line reads, "Family responsibility, please read." I hover my finger over it for a moment, remembering the weight of those words. Then I delete it without opening it. No anger. No guilt. Just a quiet certainty. As I close my laptop that evening, I wonder if there's ever a point where family reconciliation becomes possible after such a fundamental breach of trust. Or if some relationships are healthier when viewed through the rearview mirror. What would you do? Attempt reconciliation someday, or keep driving forward without looking back? My phone rings with Mom's special ringtone-y old country song she used to hum while cooking Sunday dinners. I press the speaker button, balancing my laptop on my knees as I curl deeper into my home office chair. "Calla, sweetheart, are you busy?" Mom's voice bubbles through the speaker, that special cheerfulness she reserves for family announcements. "Just finishing a client proposal. I minimize the spreadsheet where I've been calculating quarterly projections for a healthcare startup. What's up?" "Well, I wanted to share some exciting news." She pauses for dramatic effect. "Your brother just bought that beautiful Tudor in Oakwood Hills. You know, the one with the stone pathway and those gorgeous maple trees?" My fingers freeze over the keyboard. Finn bought a house in Oakwood Hills? The exclusive neighborhood where homes start at $500,000. The same neighborhood where I lost a bidding war last spring. "Yes, they close next week. Your father and I are just thrilled." I straighten in my chair. "That's unexpected. Last month he was saying the market was too expensive." "Oh, we helped him out a bit." Mom's voice lilts upward. "We gave him $85,000 for the down payment. Nothing makes us happier than seeing our children settled." The room tilts sideways. $85,000. I grip the edge of my desk to steady myself. "Mom, that's incredibly generous." "Well, you know how it is. Finn's starting his life, and that neighborhood is perfect for when they have children." She pauses. "You've always been so independent, sweetie. We figured you didn't need help." The words land like a slap. Independent. The family code word for, we don't have to worry about Calla. My phone buzzes with a text notification. I glance down to see an alert from my bank. Unusual account activity detected. Attempted access to closed joint account number 4582. The joint account I closed 3 weeks ago. The one I originally opened to help Dad pay his medical bills when he lost his insurance. "Mom, I need to go. Something's come up with work." "Always working. That's our Calla. Will we see you Sunday for brunch?" My mind flashes back to last month's family dinner. Dad raising his glass to Finn's new temporary job at his friend's landscaping company. Finally doing real work with his hands. Meanwhile, my business, the one that paid their property taxes last year, was dismissed as just consulting. "Calla? You there?" "Sorry, Mom, I've got to run." I hang up before she can hear the tremor in my voice. I dial my attorney's number from memory. Morgan Cooper's office. "It's Calla Whitaker. Is she available? It's urgent." 2 minutes later, Morgan's crisp voice comes through. "Calla, what's happened?" "My parents just tried to access our old joint account, the one we closed last month. The attempted access was logged. They can't touch what they don't know exists. They just gave my brother $85,000 for a house down payment." My voice sounds hollow even to my own ears. Right before trying to withdraw from my account. A pause. "I see. And what would you like to do about this information?" I open my laptop and create a new spreadsheet. The title forms under my fingertips. Family Karma Audit. In the first row, I type $85,000. Given to Finn for house. $0. Given to Calla. "Calla? Are you still there?" "I'm here." I reach into my desk drawer and remove the silver frame holding last year's Christmas photo, all of us smiling in matching sweaters, my arm around Mom's shoulders. I place it face down in the drawer. I'm just getting started. On Sunday during brunch, The afternoon sun filters through the bay windows as I kneel beside Mom, angling her phone to capture everyone at the patio table. Dad and Finn crowd together with Taylor, their smiles practiced and wide for the camera. Just one more, I say, pressing the shutter button. A notification slides down the screen, a group text. My finger accidentally taps it before I can stop myself. Whitaker family chat. No Kala. The breath freezes in my lungs. 3 years of messages from a thread I never knew existed. My eyes dart across the screen, catching fragments as I scroll quickly. Dad, closing tomorrow on the Oakwood house. Finally beat those California transplants driving up prices. Finn, that family that outbid us last year moved to Seattle. Karma. The family that outbid them. My bid. On the Tudor with maple trees that I'd fallen in love with last spring. Mom, remember we need to check Kala's joint account before she notices. Graham, can you stop by the bank Tuesday? Finn, Little Miss Independent won't even realize. She's too busy consulting to check her statements. Taylor, you guys are too much. Family takes care of family. My fingers turn to ice. I nearly drop the phone. Kala, are you finished? Mom's voice pulls me back. I hand her the phone, muscle memory taking over while my mind spins. Perfect shots, I manage to say, my voice surprisingly steady. I slip back to my place at the table, now hyper-aware of the physical distance. Everyone else sits clustered at one end, shoulders touching, voices overlapping while I occupy what suddenly feels like the children's table at Thanksgiving dinner. Finn leans forward, elbows on the tablecloth. So I was thinking about redoing the roof right away. The inspector said it's got 5 years left, but why wait? We're talking copper accents, architectural shingles. Sounds expensive, Taylor adds, her voice bright with anticipation. 18,000, right? I sip my water, calculations running through my head. That's a significant investment. How are you planning to cover that on your landscaping salary, Finn? The question comes out measured, curious rather than accusatory. The table falls silent. Mom's spine straightens as if pulled by a string. Why are you always so aggressive? She asks, her voice tight with warning. Dad places his fork down with deliberate care. That tone is unladylike, Kala. It's intimidating to men when women talk about money like that. Finn snorts, reaching for another biscuit. Feminist Kala at it again, counting every penny. Some of us prefer to live a little. We're helping with the landscaping, Mom interjects, folding her napkin into smaller and smaller squares. The yard has so much potential with those maple trees. The same maple trees I'd planned to build a reading bench under. Taylor nods enthusiastically. Family takes care of family. Your parents helped with my student loans too. She reaches across to squeeze Mom's hand. I don't know what we'd do without them. My phone vibrates in my pocket. A text from a number I haven't seen in years. Greer Hollis. We need to talk about Florida. Cousin Greer, the black sheep who vanished from family gatherings 5 years ago after a mysterious argument with Dad about Grandma's estate. Before I can respond, another message arrives, this one from Morgan. Discovered forged signatures on timeshare sale. Call me as soon as possible. The dining room door swings open, and Rebecca, my assistant, steps in with practiced confidence. She nods politely to my family before approaching with a manila folder. Sorry to interrupt Sunday brunch, but these required your immediate attention. Her eyes convey a different message. I've got your back. You brought work to family brunch? Mom's voice climbs half an octave. If you keep putting business before family, we'll have to reconsider your invitation to the holiday gathering. Dad's expression darkens. This attitude of yours is damaging our relationship, Kala. Your brother never brings work to family functions. Finn smirks over the rim of his mimosa. Maybe if you weren't so calculating all the time, you'd actually find a husband who could put up with you. I accept the folder from Rebecca with steady hands, feeling strangely detached from their barbs. For the first time, I see the pattern with perfect clarity, how they've used my independence against me, how they've reframed my success as a character flaw. Thank you, Rebecca. I stand, tucking the folder under my arm. I should review these. As I walk toward the guest bathroom, my phone buzzes again. Morgan's message is brief but electric. Documents received. This is worse than we thought. I lock the bathroom door and lean against the cool marble counter, confronting my reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back doesn't look betrayed or broken. She looks clear-eyed, resolute. The question forms in my mind with perfect clarity. Would I continue supporting people who see my independence as an invitation to take more? Or would I finally draw the line they've been crossing for years? The answer comes not in words, but in the straightening of my shoulders and the steel entering my spine. I open Rebecca's folder to find 15 years of family financial records, meticulously organized and highlighted. Attached to the first page is a sticky note in her precise handwriting. You didn't imagine it, it's all here. My phone vibrates at midnight, Finn's name flashing on the screen. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but answer on the third ring. Hey, what's going on? I keep my voice neutral, sliding out of bed and walking to the kitchen. Kala, thank God. Finn's voice carries that particular breathless quality he reserves for financial emergencies. The home inspection found black mold in the attic. I need $18,000 for remediation before we close next week. I fill a glass with water, taking a long sip before answering. That's a significant amount. What did the bank say? Come on, you know they won't extend the loan this late in the process. His voice shifts, softer now. It's just a short-term thing. 60 days, tops. The microwave clock glows 12:17 a.m. I place my glass on the counter with a deliberate click. Have you asked Mom and Dad? A pause. They suggested I call you, said you're flush with cash from that healthcare contract. Of course they did. I trace a finger along the granite countertop, feeling its cool solidity against my skin. I can't help you, Finn. What do you mean you can't? Or won't? His voice hardens. This is family, Kala. Yes, it is. I end the call and block his number. The morning brings 3 voicemails from Mom, each progressively more wounded. The last one makes my stomach twist. Honestly, Kala, I don't understand why you're being so difficult about helping your brother. Aunt Judy asked about you at Bridge Club yesterday and I hardly knew what to say. Family supports family. That's how we raised you. I delete all 3 without responding and drive to my downtown office. The autumn sky stretches clear blue above the city skyline, mocking my darkening mood. Rebecca meets me at the elevator, coffee in hand and worry in her eyes. Your 10 o'clock canceled, but there's something else, your parents are in the conference room. I stop mid-stride. What? They showed up 20 minutes ago. Said they needed to speak with you urgently. She lowers her voice. Your Kensington healthcare clients are due in 45 minutes. Perfect timing. I take the coffee, inhaling its bitter strength. Tell them they have 15 minutes. Mom rises when I enter, arms outstretched as if for a hug I have no intention of giving. Dad remains seated, examining the room with the appraising eye of someone mentally calculating square footage costs. Darling, we've been so worried. You haven't returned any calls. Mom's floral perfume fills the air between us. I'm preparing for an important client meeting. I remain standing. What's so urgent? Dad clears his throat. It's about your brother's house. The inspection revealed some issues that need immediate attention. I'm aware. Finn called at midnight. Then you understand the urgency. Mom places her hand on mine. I resist the urge to pull away. We've already done so much for him with the down payment. We thought perhaps you could handle this small repair. Small. $18,000 is small. Number. The single word lands with surprising weight. Mom blinks rapidly. Dad's jaw tightens. Kala Elizabeth, he says, using my full name as he did when I was 10. Your brother needs help. And I needed help last spring when I lost the bidding war on the house he's now buying with your money. My voice remains steady. You told me the market would correct itself and I should be patient. An uncomfortable silence stretches between us, broken by Rebecca knocking gently on the doorframe. Miss Whitaker, your Kensington clients are in the lobby. Thank you, Rebecca. I turn back to my parents. I have work to do. Mom's face crumples. We just need to understand why you're being like this. Like what, Mom? Independent? The word tastes acidic on my tongue. They leave with tight smiles and promises to figure something out. I watch them go, wondering how many times I've capitulated to similar ambushes over the years. 2 hours later, my phone pings with a credit alert. I excuse myself from the client meeting to check the notification. Unusual activity detected on Visa account number 4719. An account I never opened. The afternoon becomes a blur of phone calls and documentation. A credit card in my name with $9,600 in charges at home improvement stores. Family vacation photos on Facebook from a Lake Michigan trip I knew nothing about. A collection agency calling about Finn's truck loan with my forged signature as co-signer. This is a clear pattern, Morgan says when I call her. The attorney's voice carries the professional calm of someone accustomed to family betrayals. How soon can you meet? Tomorrow morning. Bring whatever documentation you have. And Kala, consider changing your locks. I hang up as my office door opens. It's Rebecca, holding a thick manila envelope. Your cousin Greer called while you were on the phone. She asked me to give you this in person, not by mail. Rebecca hesitates. She said it's about your grandparents' Florida property. My fingers tremble slightly as I open the envelope. Inside, a stack of notarized documents show a timeshare sale from 3 years ago with my signature on the transfer paperwork. A signature I never made. More damning is the second document. A copy of my grandparents' will, highlighting a separate inheritance designated specifically for me. Money I never received. My phone rings. Morgan. I've reviewed the preliminary documentation, she says without preamble. We have a solid paper trail of financial exploitation spanning at least 5 years. This isn't just family taking advantage, Kala. This crosses into criminal territory. I feel something shift inside Mano, the crushing weight of betrayal, but something unexpected. Lightness. While organizing my desk drawer, I find the receipt for the platinum watch I bought Dad last Christmas, $750 I couldn't really afford, but spent anyway, wanting to see his face light up. Attached is a return slip dated the 26th of December. Store credit issued to Graham Whitaker, $750. The next morning, I meet Greer at a coffee shop downtown. My cousin looks both older and more resolved than when I last saw her at Grandma's funeral. They did the same to me, she says without preamble. After I questioned why Uncle Graham was handling Grandma's estate instead of the designated executor. Suddenly, I wasn't invited to family functions. Mom started telling everyone I was having mental health issues. I wrap my hands around my mug. How much have they taken? From me? About $40,000 in inheritance I can prove. From you? She slides another folder across the table. Based on these records, nearly $300,000 over the past decade. My stomach drops, but my voice remains steady. How did you get these? Aunt Iris left her email logged in on my laptop last Thanksgiving. I've been gathering evidence ever since. She meets my eyes directly. They've been selling off family properties for years, Kala. Properties with our names on the deeds. That afternoon, Morgan calls again. I've spoken with my partners. We'd like to handle your case pro bono. Her voice carries unusual emotion. This is elder abuse in reverse. You're not alone in this situation. Later that day, my mentor Diane suggests a comprehensive documentation strategy for the inevitable family confrontation. Create packets for each person. Everything organized chronologically. No emotion, just facts. Rebecca stays late 3 nights running, helping organize years of financial records into color-coded evidence packets. You know this means war, she says, sealing the last envelope. Number, I shake my head. This means justice. I send a certified letter requesting a family meeting at my home office on Saturday. They try to reschedule 3 times. I remain firm. Finn calls Thursday night, his voice slurred and angry. You need to stop harassing the family, Kala. Mom's blood pressure is through the roof because of your bullshit. I'll see you Saturday at 10, I reply and hang up. After he calls back 6 times, I block his number too. Friday evening, Rebecca helps me prepare the improvised V conference room at home. As she arranges water glasses and notepads with precision, I reveal the final piece. There's something else they don't know about. I unlock my desk drawer and remove a leather-bound binder labeled Family Karma Audit. Rebecca's eyes widen as I open it, revealing meticulous records dating back 15 years. Bank statements, text messages, emails, photos of checks, loan agreements, never honored. You've been keeping track all along. Yes. I run my finger down the final column of the spreadsheet. $297,842.16. What are you going to do? Rebecca asks. I close the binder with a quiet snap. I'm going to give them exactly 1 chance to make this right. The conference table in my home office gleams under recessed lighting. I've positioned everyone with precision, my parents on the far side, Finn beside them, Greer to my right, and attorney Morgan Cooper at the head of the table. Rebecca stands quietly by the credenza, managing the coffee service with the same efficiency she brings to our client presentations. Thank you all for coming. I open the leather portfolio that contains the records of my family's financial exploitation. I've asked you here to address some concerning patterns I've discovered. Mother fidgets with her pearl bracelet. Really, Kala, this formal setting seems excessive for a family chat. This isn't a chat. I slide the first document across the polished surface. This is a comprehensive accounting of financial support I've provided over the past decade. Father's face pales as the total at the bottom catches his eye. $297,842.63. Attorney Morgan distributes copies to everyone. Miss Whitaker has maintained meticulous records, as you can see. Finn scoffs, pushing the paper away. This is ridiculous. You're keeping score? Family doesn't count pennies. Apparently, my pennies were the only ones being counted. I click the remote. The wall-mounted screen displays security footage from First National Bank. This was taken 3 months ago. That's you, Finn, using my driver's license and social security card to access my accounts. The room falls silent. Taylor shifts uncomfortably in her chair. After everything we've done for you, Mother whispers, her voice cracking with practiced emotion. How can you attack your family this way? Father adopts his puzzled expression, the same one he used when questioned about missing tools from my garage. I don't recall any of these arrangements. My memory isn't what it used to be. Finn stands abruptly, his chair scraping against hardwood. I'm not going to sit here while you attack Mom and Dad. I'll make sure everyone in the family knows how you're treating them. Please do. I press another button on the remote. Finn's voice fills the room. Kala's such a sucker. All you have to do is mention Dad's medical bills and she writes another check. The best part? She's so busy working, she never notices when a little extra disappears. His recorded laughter cuts through the room like broken glass. Finn lunges for the door. Morgan steps in front of it. I suggest you remain seated, Mr. Whitaker. We're just getting started. Greer clears her throat and opens her own folder. I have the documents regarding the Florida timeshare sale. She spreads papers across the table. These signatures were forged. The handwriting analysis confirms it. Mother's mascara begins to run. Father stares at the floor, knuckles white against his armrests. Identity theft carries serious penalties, Morgan explains, her voice steady and professional. Wire fraud, forgery, unauthorized account access, these are criminal offenses with potential jail time. Rebecca serves coffee with quiet efficiency, placing cups in front of each person. Nobody reaches for them. If you discovered your family had stolen your identity and taken nearly $300,000 from you over a decade, I ask, looking each of them in the eye, would you pursue criminal charges, or would you give them one last chance to make it right? The question hangs in the air. Mother's confident facade crumbles first. Her shoulders curl inward as she stares at the spreadsheet. We never meant. You meant exactly this, I interrupt. The text messages planning to access my account before she notices make your intentions clear. Finn jumps up again. This is insane, I'm leaving. Morgan doesn't move from her position by the door. There are 2 police officers in my car outside. One word from Miss Whitaker, and they'll come in with warrants. Father hasn't spoken since the evidence presentation began. He sits motionless, eyes fixed on the table. Mother's crying turns from delicate tears to ugly sobs. You can't do this to your family. You did this, I correct her. My voice remains steady despite the rage burning in my chest. Every time you called me independent while taking advantage of my generosity. Every time you celebrated Finn while dismissing my success. Every time you forged my signature or accessed my accounts without permission. Taylor stands suddenly. I didn't know any of this. She looks at Finn with disgust. You told me Kala approved those loans. Taylor Finn reaches for her arm. She pulls away. Don't touch me. She grabs her purse and moves toward the door. Morgan steps aside to let her pass. The confident family unit that walked into my office an hour ago has disintegrated. Mother cries into a tissue. Father stares silently at the floor. Finn looks frantically between them, waiting for someone to fix this situation like they've fixed everything else in his life. I close my portfolio with a decisive snap. Now, let's discuss how you're going to make this right. Mother dabs at her eyes with a tissue. The perfect shade of coral lipstick remains untouched despite her theatrical display. We just wanted to help Finn start his life, she says, voice wavering with practiced vulnerability. You were already so established with your business. Father leans forward, elbows on the polished conference table in my home office. We always intended to leave you more in the will, to balance things out. His fingers tap a nervous rhythm against the mahogany surface. Finn, slouched in his chair, perks up. What we need is a family healing retreat. Not all this legal nonsense. He gestures dismissively at Attorney Morgan, who sits beside me with perfect posture, her silver pen poised over her legal pad. Mother nods enthusiastically. Your father and I were thinking we could sign over our timeshare in Scottsdale as fair compensation. The association fees are reasonable, and you'd have a vacation spot whenever you want. The same worthless timeshare they couldn't sell last year. The one with a lien against it for unpaid maintenance fees. I maintain eye contact with each of them as I open the leather portfolio Morgan prepared. From it, I withdraw 2 sealed envelopes. I've brought 2 options today. My voice sounds different, lower, steadier than it's ever been in their presence. The first envelope contains a legal agreement for full repayment with interest over 5 years. I place it in the center of the table. The second contains criminal complaints for fraud, forgery, and identity theft, ready to file with the district attorney. The silence feels like ice cracking beneath their feet. I've supported this family for 15 years. I spread the documents before them like playing cards. Today, that ends. Morgan slides forward a thick folder. These bank statements show systematic transfers from Kala's accounts to yours over the past decade. She opens to a highlighted page. Here we have a credit check revealing multiple accounts opened in Kala's name without her authorization. Finn's face drains of color as Morgan continues. This notarized affidavit from the bank manager details your unauthorized access attempts to MissBrivenix.com. Whitaker's account specifically on the day you gave your son $85,000. Father stares at the ceiling. Mother's hands tremble. And these, Morgan taps a bound stack of papers, are text messages between family members discussing plans to access Kala's funds. Note the timestamps, they predate your gift to Finn by less than 24 hours. I stand, circling the table slowly. The room feels warmer now, my skin electric, with a power I've never allowed myself to claim. Mother, I stop behind her chair. You called me independent when you meant convenient. A reliable ATM who wouldn't ask questions. She flinches but doesn't turn. I move to Father. You taught me family comes first, then used that lesson against me. Every dollar I gave you was proof of my love, but never enough to earn yours. His shoulders hunch forward as if bearing physical weight. I reach Finn last. You forged my signature while calling me for sisterly advice about investments. Remember those late-night calls? You were holding my credit card application in your hand, weren't you? Finn stares at the table, jaw tight. Morgan slides the repayment agreement forward with 2 black pens. This option allows for monthly payments over 60 months. It includes provisions for early repayment without penalty. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticks 13 times before Mother reaches for a pen. Father follows, then Finn. The scratch of pen on paper sounds like victory. Finn reaches into his wallet and extracts 3 credit cards. He places them on the table, face down. These have your name on them, he mumbles. We'll need to list the house, Father says quietly to Mother. The equestrian membership, too. Morgan catches my eye, a slight nod confirming this wasn't part of our strategy. They've arrived at this conclusion themselves. Greer, who has been silent throughout, speaks for the first time. And the Florida property? The one grandmother left to Kala and me? Mother's head snaps up. How did you? Public records, Greer answers calmly. The sale closed 3 years ago. Father signs the final page with a defeated flourish. We'll figure something out. An hour later, the house is empty except for Rebecca, who silently collects coffee cups and straightens chairs. They signed, I tell her, still not quite believing it myself. Of course they did. She squeezes my shoulder. They finally saw you. That evening, I returned from dinner with Morgan to find a blinking light on my answering machine. One new message. I press play, bracing myself for threats or manipulation. Mother's voice fills the room, strangely subdued. Kala, we need to talk about the house. I freeze, finger hovering over the delete button. Your house, she continues. The one in Oakwood Hills you lost in the bidding war. The buyers backed out yesterday. It's yours if you still want it. The message ends. The machine beeps, awaiting my command. I sit in the gathering darkness, weighing 15 years of history against one unexpected olive branch. The delete button glows red in the dimness. A month later, the real estate agent slides the papers across the weathered oak table. Just your signature, here and here, miss. Whitaker. She taps her manicured nail against the flagged lines, her coral lipstick matching the folders spread between us. I sign my name with the fountain pen my mentor Diane gave me when I landed my first major client. The ink flows smooth and permanent across the page. Congratulations. The agent beams, collecting the documents with practiced efficiency. You know, we had a higher offer from a lovely family with 3 children. But the seller appreciated your all-cash offer. No financing contingencies, no inspection delays. No strings, I add, running my fingertips across the grain of the table. Exactly. She hands me a set of keys attached to a handcrafted leather fob. This one's paid in full. No mortgages, no loans, no strings. The keys feel substantial in my palm, solid brass that catches the light streaming through the cabin windows. Through the glass, I can see the lake shimmering under the afternoon sun, ripples catching the light like thousands of tiny mirrors. I stand alone in my new space after the agent leaves, breathing in the scent of cedar and pine. The silence wraps around me like a favorite blanket knot, the suffocating quiet of family dinners after I asked uncomfortable questions, but the peaceful stillness of belonging only to myself. My phone chimes with a text from Morgan. Still coming at 4 for the official tour? I smile and type back, champagne's already chilling. The mail carrier arrives as I'm arranging cheese and fruit on a serving board. I recognize the cream-colored envelope immediately, the same type my parents used for my college graduation card. The one that contained congratulations but no check, unlike the generous gifts my brother received for much lesser accomplishments. This envelope feels different, heavier. Inside, I find a check for $3,500 and a handwritten note on my mother's monogrammed stationery. We're sorry. 2 words. No excuses, no justifications, no attempts to explain away years of financial exploitation. Just the first installment of repayment and an acknowledgement I never expected to receive. I place the check in a folder labeled Restitution Payments and continue preparing for my guests. Rebecca arrives first, carrying potted herbs for my kitchen windowsill. Greer follows with a hand-woven blanket in sunset colors. Morgan brings a bottle of expensive scotch and news that makes me pause while pouring water for the fresh flowers. Finn's house is listed as a short sale, she says, accepting the glass of champagne I offer. Your parents sold their Cadillac and that boat your father was so proud of. They're moving into a senior apartment complex next month. I nod, feeling neither vindication nor sorrow. And the timeshare proceeds? Greer received her first payment yesterday. Morgan raises her glass toward my cousin. Everything proceeding exactly as legally agreed. We gather around the fireplace as evening approaches, the 4 of us forming a circle of hard-won trust. On the stone mantel above us sits a simple frame containing a printout of my final family karma audit spreadsheet, the words "account settled" written in bold across the bottom. To chosen family, Rebecca says, raising her glass. To independence, Greer adds. To boundaries with consequences, Morgan offers with professional satisfaction. I look around at these women who stood beside me when blood relations failed. To freedom. Later, after they've gone, I sit on the dock with my feet dangling above the water. The lake stretches before me, vast and uncomplicated. My phone buzzes in my pocket, Mom, appearing on the screen with that old country song ringtone I never changed. I silence it without answering and watch the sun sink lower, painting the water in warm gold. The weight that lived between my shoulder blades for years has finally dissolved. Independence isn't what made me unworthy of their help. Independence is what finally set me free. If your family uses your strength as a reason to withhold support while draining your resources, would you have the courage to show them exactly how independent you can be? What would your family karma audit reveal if you started keeping track today? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one.